Thank you for tuning in to Gloves Off Seattle. Join your hosts Patti and Meagan on this epic historical journey. If you're here, you probably already know that we love women's sports. Gloves Off Seattle! Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.
Gloves Off Seattle.
With Crank Up the Volume. Yes. For those that are listening and not watching, we have Alicia Crank of Crank Up the Volume podcast with us today. And we are just so excited. We've been talking about this for, a year now? Having you on the podcast. Having on the podcast. So we're so excited that this finally worked out. But Alicia just had the opportunity to participate, be part of the social media team. I don't know, be totally entrenched in the Flava Flav SheWeekend. So we were like, man, you should come on and talk about that because we're really interested to hear. So
I want to hear all about it.
Yeah. So I will stop talking and I will let Alicia go. But Alicia, the first thing actually we always ask everybody, and we should ask you this because I don't know the answer to this question. How did you get into hockey? Because you're like a mega hockey fan.
True.
Yeah, I think I've heard some of the story, but I want to hear you tell it. How did you
want to hear it?
Well, the short answer is I grew up in Hockey Town. I grew up in Detroit.
Right. Yeah.
So, I didn't know that it was a weird thing for a female, even a woman of color, to be a fan until after I left.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like when I moved to the Bay Area when I was 21, they were like, wait, you're coming to Sharks games? What is happening here? And I was like, we wear Red Wing stuff all the time. So it was like, it was a part of my upbringing, to be honest.
That's very cool. Yeah. Because I think that for me is like, yes, being a woman, number one, I know you're from Detroit, but I also I don't think I realized that like even the BIPOC community there were hockey fans because it feels, and you know this, it feels like such a the NHL especially, like such a gate kept sport in general. So I feel like, hearing that you grew up watching hockey is a little groundbreaking for me. So.
And the other thing too, I tell people, and I didn't think about this until I was an adult, it really was about proximity. We had the big four teams, right? So we had basketball, football, baseball, and hockey. And, we think most, minorities or persons of color, they gravitate to football and basketball. But the reality is those two arenas were outside the city limits. Whereas Joe Louis Arena, where the Red Wings used to play, was literally in downtown Detroit. Same thing with Tiger Stadium. So it was easier as kids to go to those games than it was to travel into the suburbs to try to go to the other games.
Yeah. Do you remember your first hockey game?
I do. It was Detroit versus, oh my God. And it had to be Chicago because friends that were meeting us there drove up.
Oh, from Chicago.
So it was the Chicago team. I had to be like 10 or 11 years old. But I was wearing gear before that because, like I said, it was proximity. And I think I just love the energy of it. Maybe now I say the kind of violence of it, But, it's different to see it in person than it was to watch it on TV. So once I saw it in person, I was sold.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another question.
Okay. I want to go back to the urban nature of the game, but go ahead.
Yeah. Did you ever sneak an octopus in your pants?
No.
Okay.
That was slimy. I wouldn't even do that now.
Is that a Detroit Red Wings thing?
It is a Detroit
Red Wings.
Yeah, they throw octopus onto the ice.
Yes. It goes back to the time when there was only 8 teams. No, it was 8 wins. You needed 8 wins to win the Stanley Cup when there were 2 rounds, and that was their it is a little gross, and they're not allowed to do it, but they do it anyway. You have to sneak it in now. So
okay, I want to pull back a little bit because I think this is a conversation that we've had, especially with the growth of the PWHL, and I know that's something you're interested in, is the urban nature versus the suburban nature of some arenas and how different that makes it for the PWHL fan base versus the NHL fan base. So it's very interesting that you say that the Detroit arena was downtown, so that made it accessible to you, because I think that's another thing that like the fans of PW tend to be a little more urban, right?
Yeah, right.
And public transit.
Yeah, if there's not
exactly.
So there's not public transit, which is the big thing with Boston we talked about. Like it's literally an hour drive. Lowell was an hour drive outside the city, right? And so to get there, you had to either do 2 hours on public transit or, have a car. And
that just was not feasible growing up in Detroit because there was way too many bus systems, and then they would cut off at like 7, 8 o'clock. So, you know what I'm saying? So you were not, the suburban buses at that time was really the commuter buses, that we know of today. So people who lived in the suburbs who would bus into the city and then go back. So so you could probably get out there, but then you were stuck until the next morning.
Oh, that's so interesting.
And actually, as you touch upon that too, I also went to the PWHL draft in Detroit.
Yes.
Here,
and we need to talk about that. Holy okay.
And it was even interesting going back and seeing that it's still, so now all 4 teams do play in downtown Detroit. I never thought it would be physically possible, but Hockey Town just grew. When I got there, and it was just like, wow. I mean, so you have the arenas are literally across the street from one another. There's this huge cafe called, 2-story cafe called Hockey Town Cafe.
Wow.
It's a thing. And so again, it was not abnormal for me to see the diversity of the fans that came out in general, but also specifically for the draft and having now a women's team there.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about the draft. We'll get to SheWeekend. I promise, guys. We will talk about it. We don't have episode limits. Like, we like to keep them to 30 minutes when it's just the two of us, because who wants to hear us yammer on? But like, when there's another person here, it's fun.
I'll be as succinct as possible, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I'm not worried about that. But so the draft, I want to talk about it because I know you and I, we've seen each other since then, and so I think we kind of just conversed about it. But like, tell me like the vibe. Tell me about the vibe, because I know that was a point that you made to tell me about. So
yeah, the vibe, I mean, it was very interesting. So almost like with SheWeekend, which we'll talk about too. I initially was going as a fan. I just knew it was going to happen. I bought a ticket. I'm going. And just through some kind of weird happenstance, a week or so before, when they finally started granting media passes, they gave me one.
Nice.
And I was grateful because everything was so last minute on the organizing part on the league level. There was no media from Seattle. There was no media from the Pacific Northwest.
Honestly, for us, we talked about this. It was cost prohibitive.
It was expensive. Yes.
The tickets were crazy expensive, and it was the middle of the week. So like for us, that's a hard ask.
Right.
But
the airline ticket was insane. And thankfully I am on my friends and family list. So
we need 2. We don't just need 1. We gotta have 2. She can't sit in my lap. They won't let her.
I would totally, but
it was stressful to be going standby. So I'm like, who's going to Detroit in the middle of the week? But the flights were booked.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but thankfully I made it out there. So getting the media pass was great. So that also meant that I got to go to the non-public stuff. So I got to go to the media briefing with the EVPs.
Yes.
Which was interesting. It was very much they came prepared. They had their heckles up a bit because there was a lot of criticism around the draft, which we've all talked about already. So I think they just kind of came in.
Was it criticism about the draft, or was it criticism about the expansion process? Because I know that people were upset.
I think it was all of the above. Because even at that time, we didn't know the order.
Right. That came so late.
Like literally the day before. There was a lot of media that was there that was ready to come with. And so they kind of tried to preempt some of that, in stating their case for things. And so that was a really kind of intense press conference, but still very educational.
Right.
But then it was just a position immediately with meeting with some of the top prospects. So that was the first time I got to talk to Layla Edwards directly. The first time I got to talk to Abby Murphy directly, and Kirsten Sims and a few others. So it was kind of, interesting to go from this very kind of tense, what have you, to these girls really going through second graduation. And that was kind of the theme that I kept with them the entire time I was there, because they had just graduated. Now they're going through a draft. And so it's like, what's going on? So it was fun to see their excitement, and also, probably some stress and some apprehension, because you're being chosen and you don't know how you're going to be chosen or by who or what number. So that was kind of cool. And then the awards that night, where Boston pretty much swept all the categories except for the one they were not nominated in.
And that would have been sad had they won that too, right?
So that was pretty interesting. And in hindsight, now I see the foreshadowing of now having our new assistant coach, Steph, coming from Boston. So there was that. So that was pretty jovial. And it was nice that Seattle got a little bit of shine with having Hannah Murphy be a part of that chosen, rookie, the all-star
rookie class.
team. So, and I didn't know she was there. So it was kind of like, it was fun to kind of run into her there as well and grab a couple of minutes with her to get her reaction.
Awesome.
And then the draft itself. So the following day, it was a lot. Because again, I went to the draft last year where it was,
I remember
60, that. 6 going to 8 and now 12. So it felt a lot heavier. It felt a lot longer. I think Detroit definitely was the star of the show on a lot of different levels. And we had and then by that time, we knew a lot of our players that we love here were taken. And a lot of them were taken by Detroit. So it was kind of weird to juxtaposition kind of the jovialness that was at the Ottawa draft to now kind of coming in stressful now, and now knowing that the fan favorite that we were hoping would get picked was clearly not going to get picked. And there was emotion around that, and not even from just like even the front office, but some of the fans who did manage to get out there. And it just felt weird. And stressful, and I totally understood it. But when you're in that moment around all this celebration, it was like, it was hard to try to enjoy it as much as you could, kind of knowing that other fans' joy was in our benefit.
Well, and we talked about this, and I know Patti said it, that, she apologized.
Sorry, original 6, because now we feel your pain. And I think that was the juxtaposition last year in Ottawa, right? It was like the total culmination and the beginnings that we had, and now it was a total transformation.
I know. I did an apology video too. I was like, I'm sorry, I feel you now. We totally get it. Our bad.
I mean, not even our bad. It was the process that was put in front of us, right? We did what we did with the process that was put in front of us. And I think that, we put together a really talented team. Obviously, we know it didn't go the way we wanted it to this last season, but I think that is interesting too. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens next year and what it feels like for everybody next year when fingers crossed and, my lips to God's ears and whoever needs to hear it, we should stop with expansion for a minute and a half. Like, give us a season.
Fix the original 6.
Give us some breathing room. Let it simmer.
And get everybody in a larger arena that can, and with growth in mind and that sort of thing. And like, that's what I want us to focus on. But anyway, it doesn't really, I'm interested to see what it feels like next year, because I think that's really like you said, like we felt the way that I'm sure Detroit and Hamilton and San Jose and Vegas felt this year, last year, when we were like this brand new team, all new prospects, like we don't even know what, and just coming out of the expansion process of having the heartbreak of like so many of our, players that we've come to love over the season, being snatched up or, walking away. Whichever the case might be, but it was hard.
And then I would say, even just for me, it was like, okay, I'm happy, but I'm not happy, right? So I'm happy because Detroit's getting a team, so I wanted this for a while. So this is happening, but you're also taking my favorites with me, or most of my favorites. So like, okay, I knew you were going to, in my mind, be my second team. Now you have to be my second team.
It's required.
So if I had to lose them, I'm glad I lost them to them, right?
Yes. For sure.
So it was just a weird mix of emotion going around, right? You get to see, and I would say too, you started to see, even before the official announcement came about the investment group that was coming in, it was very much on display.
I was just like, what is going on in Detroit? Like, that's how it felt.
It was good.
Even the team announcement for Detroit looked like the level of like production for the team announcement.
I mean, the music, the drummers, the cars, the everything.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, the level of production seemed like it was a higher level for them than it was for the rest of the team announcement. So, I mean, and even like Vegas, I was like, where's the Spectre? Like, this is Vegas. It should be like
a show.
And it didn't feel that way. It felt like Detroit. And so anyway, yes, I think now that we're past it all, we're like, oh, okay, that's what was going on. You know,
I was like, where am I? And again, as someone who went to the last one where, you know, everything was kind of in one place, you know, and the production value on the PWHL side was great. The location was way outside of Ottawa, and it was like, okay, but now we're like heart of downtown Detroit. We're at the Fox Theater. We're at, you know, Illich Communications. We're at, you know, Little Caesars Arena, all these brand new spanking state-of-the-art spaces. And I was like, this feels like a professional thing.
Awesome.
Across the board. So the hospitality was great. Like I said, I think there was just mixed vibes and energy, because it's like, yay, we're expanding, but here are the consequences of that expansion.
Yeah. We're right there with you. Yeah. But we're ready to get behind this new team too. You know, like let's be honest. Like, we're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Right. We love this team. So.
And I would say too, and I know that you can appreciate this, it was also interesting to see the backside of things, right? It was interesting to see what's happening behind the scenes. And I would say the thing that maybe resonated to me most was was seeing the players and seeing their levels of excitement, and even being in the press room. It was a long night. Yeah. And there was times I wanted to walk away. You know, I was like, okay, I need to take a break, but I didn't want to miss any of our players that were drafted. And then the further along in the number, the emptier the press room got.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking about the girls, the young women walking in, and, you know, they're excited. They just got their name called. They went to the photo room. They're getting the goodie bag. And then they walk in the press room and it's like, you know, and, you know, and I'm like, I want to try to make sure that they felt like someone was there for them. Yeah. Even if it was only like at the end, 3 of us in the room, when we started out with like 20.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't want to add something negative to their experience. All right. So we just tried to. So there was a handful of us that stuck it out and we're like, you know what? We don't want to take this moment away from them.
Yeah.
And
even if it was more limited than the first round.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you being there too, because you brought some of our questions to the players that were coming, you know, from that Seattle chose. So we were very happy that you were there.
And thanks for submitting them, because I'm just like, I was like online and like the Discord.
Oh no, yeah, we would do it. Yeah,
every place. Give me a question. This person's coming up. What do you want me to ask her?
So, it was great. I mean, we were at a watch party, you know, which was super fun, but it was long for us too. We were like, okay, we've been here for 5 hours. Like, when is this going to be over? You know, and I felt the same way. Like, the excitement as the rounds went on got, you know, it kind of got a little less and a little less. And so it was like, how do we keep up the same excitement? Because I don't want our, you know, 8th round pick to feel like we don't love her as much as we love the 1st round pick, you know, or the 2nd round pick. Like, I just feel that way. My mom heart is the same way. I'm like, I want everybody to feel included and loved and whatever. So yeah. I feel that. Well, thank you for representing Seattle. We appreciate that. I know there were some fans there, people that didn't have media, but there were some fans there, but you did an amazing job. And I felt like and congratulations also, because I know that some major media outlets picked up some of your questions, especially
that was nuts. I was like 2 days later, and I look at my phone and I'm getting all these alerts, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, what did I do? And they were like, oh no, they took your question about with Caitlin. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, I don't need credit. I don't care. But then when I saw the clip, like, you could hear me talking.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
And you should get credit.
Yeah, you should get credit. Absolutely. Because it was, I mean, that's for us. It's like we sit in the media room, and it's like, if it's not my question, I'm going to give somebody else credit for it. Like if it's my question, like I give myself credit for it. But like if it's someone else's question, the media outlet should 100% credit, credit the person.
I was just so happy for Caitlin. And again, she's the prime example of, by the time I was literally getting ready to finally go take a bio break, right? So I was just like, I need to do something. But the people were not coming in the exact order that they were drafted.
Oh, they weren't?
No, because sometimes they got held up in the photo room or in these other things before, so they would be a little bit out of order. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting ready to go and say, let me just make sure that it's not somebody from the torrent coming up. But it was Caitlin. And I was like, I had just known about her for the first time, maybe 2 hours before.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any research on her. I didn't know any of her stats, but I saw her and I'm like, I don't want her to walk into just a couple of faces that don't look recognizable.
Yeah. And I was going to ask too, like, as a person of color, like how many other people of color were there in that media room? Because obviously as white women,
there was one young lady that was an intern for the Detroit News, but I think she was just there for like the first round.
Yeah.
And so when I saw Caitlin being able to walk in, I was like, okay, I just need to be in the room.
Yeah.
And just let her know that there's somebody here that's here.
Yeah.
And then the question, again, as you get later on in the draft, the questions get a little bit more generic. Say, oh, how do you
people
feel?
Don't have as much, I mean, they don't have as much information, as much of the backstory, for sure.
Yeah, so it's more like, how do you feel? And are you excited? And have you ever been to that city before? And so when she walks in, I'm thinking someone's going to ask her something about her journey.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. And so as she's getting ready to leave, I was like, wait, I'm going to ask this question at least. And again, I didn't think it was a groundbreaking question, but I was just like, hey, I'm not used to seeing us on the ice. How did you get to this point?
Yeah.
And she was so happy to answer it. And I'm like, okay, great. And there was actually another reporter in there after she left. She goes, we're so happy you were here to ask her that question. And I'm like, you could have asked her that question. It doesn't have to be limited.
Yeah.
But
I understand why people would feel that way too, because it's like you don't want to tokenize anybody either, because I think that as you know, because there are not a lot of people of color that play the sport. It's like they tend to be the token, whatever race they are, whatever and so it's like I get that. I probably would have paused too and been like, oh, I want to ask the question, but I don't know if I can.
So, I mean, I was just glad that I was in the room to ask that question of her, and that she answered it with the enthusiasm that she did, and that people found that to be important, because I did think it was important. Yeah. I didn't know it was going to be ESPNW important, but I'm like,
okay. It was important, and congratulations to them.
I'm just glad that she was able to get that shine to be able to share her story.
Yeah. Yeah. And that you timed your bio break well. Good job.
Yes, evident. Yeah. That's when I ran out. I gotta go.
Yeah. She's like, now I gotta go. Okay. Anything else you want to share about the draft before we move on to SheWeekend?
I think at the end, I just had that discussion with Megan Turner, and I think for me that was kind of the bow to kind of bring it all together, because that was the main thing. It was like I wanted to understand and have the fans understand how she got to that point.
Right.
It wasn't just arbitrary, like, I don't care what you guys think. It was good to be able to kind of hear her talk through her process and to know that she had and I did know that she had conversations with Layla, because I was able to talk to her mom and she was sharing some of this stuff. But I think that was important for fans to be able to hear and understand, is to say, this wasn't just something I pulled out of my hat, or I just wanted to be contrary and I wasn't listening to the fans.
But I don't even think it was that. I mean, I think a lot of people just felt like it was, a non-cultural decision, right? Like, I think that was what a lot of people took issue with, because I don't think anybody could, I mean, we're talking about Abby Murphy. We're talking around it, but we're talking about Abby Murphy. I don't think anybody can argue that she's not a great hockey player.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's not the argument. I mean, I think sometimes that there are people who are worried about the way that she plays hockey and how that's going to translate into PWHL. But I think the cultural question was what was on everybody's mind. And I think, for us, it's like, let's give her a chance and see, give her a chance to get out here and see what we're about and how she fits into to the vibe,
that was a surprising moment for me because I got to ask her question, and it was kind of interesting to be able to hang out and talk with some of the moms, and a handful of them very candidly said to me, it's like, that is not the Abby we know.
Yeah.
That has not been our experience with her around our family and our daughters.
Yeah.
Who are part of that community.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, okay, so let's factor that in too, right?
And we've heard that as well from other players in the league.
Right.
Other players in the league have shared with us that is not who they know, what people feel like the social media presence or whatever their
and I think that's what's really important, because as in the PWHL, it's all about community.
Yeah.
And like our community in Seattle is very tight knit and very inclusive and very uplifting. And we want that mirrored on our team and with everyone who wears our sweater. So I think it's important that, we see that she can be a part of the community and is, and will hold up that vibe. So,
and maybe even more so knowing that it's not something that's fake.
Right.
Like, it's not like, okay, she changed up because of all this backlash or whatever. It's like, no, this is who she is known to be.
Right.
So.
Right. And I'm assuming most people know this, but I'll put it out there because I don't think it's private knowledge. Meg Turner herself is a queer woman. So it's like, if she felt like she was bringing somebody on that was not, at least friendly with the community, like I think she would think twice. Like, I don't think
agree.
Yeah. I think she's very sensitive to that. So, okay. Let's talk about SheWeekend, because I'm so interested. I basically followed along on your journey on social media. And we've heard from, a couple other people that were there in different capacities, but you got invited to be on the social media team. How did that happen? Yes, I want to know how that happened.
So what had happened?
What had happened was, I love it.
So again, almost like the draft, I was just like, soon as Flav, put that tweet out months ago after the Winter Olympics, I was like, I just want to be in the general area. So I blocked out a trip to go to Vegas. I just knew I was going and going to go as a fan and just kind of follow stuff along. And a member of the person, Courtney, who was kind of, in charge of all the social media that was happening leading up to it, we started following each other on Instagram. And so she saw the clip about ESPN, because I reached out to her and I said, I'm gonna shoot my shot. And I was like, are you guys asking for media or content creators or whatever with that? And she was like, yeah. She goes, did you email me anything? And I was like, no, but I said, but I have this, this thing that happened on with ESPN. And so she watched it and she was like, okay, I'll get back to you. And I didn't think anything was going to come of it. Because again, I'm thinking this is a huge event in Las Vegas. I'm sure large networks or like the Gist and Together, we're all going to be a part of that. So I'm like, who am I? Right.
Yeah.
And then she messages me a week later and she's like, yeah, we want you to be on the content team. And I'm like, okay. But I still had to sit on it for like 2 weeks. And she's like, don't say anything. This is like, we're still putting it together. And I'm like, okay. And then we finally had a Zoom meeting with the others. And I noticed 2 things. Like, one, is only 5 of us. And 2 were Vegas locals, 2 was a team out of Chicago, and then me. And I'm like, oh. And I didn't get it until after I was actually around the other girls. But she's like, I didn't pick people based on their follower counts or this and this and that. She's like, I was really looking at how they do their content and the genuineness of it. And I was like, okay. And then when we kind of all came together that Thursday, yes, we were all very different in how we gathered and put together our content, but it was also really complementary at the same time. So it sounds like, okay, this is a team of 5 of us. There's still others in other capacities doing stuff, but for the Thursday public event, we were going to be it. So we meet up. We got to go to like the staging area around Park MGM where the players were hanging out at. And I got to say, side note, the other thing about being there that I really appreciate, and this kind of ties back to Abby Murphy, is that I got to see them all hanging out, right? And I was kind of consciously looking to see who was hanging out with who.
Yes.
Like I kind of wanted to see like,
oh, spill the tea. Spill the tea.
So the first person I saw was Kayla Barnes. I saw Barnesy. And so she and I talked because her mom and I have been chatting. And so we were talking about that.
I love it. The moms. Moms
are awesome.
I know we're in with all the moms too. We love it. So
so I kind of see them kind of hanging out in this one area. And they're just like, they're first of all, they're exhausted. Because they had just come off the ESPYs.
Oh, yeah.
The night before. And so it's kind of like, okay, so they're just kind of chilling. They're kind of, getting their energy together because they're going to have to be out around thousands of people. So it was interesting to see how they were just kind of who was hanging out with who was doing what, who was trying to learn how to gamble, because there was a whole gambling lesson that happened too.
So funny.
That I got to see a little piece of. And it was just kind of like, okay, so we got to, we were trying to be respectful. So we're not like trying to push all up on them and try to get exclusive interviews or anything like that. But we got to see those inner workings, right? And one of the things that was interesting was, like I said, like, so Abby and Carpy and them were already there at Park MGM, like 5 something p.m. At 6 o'clock was supposed to be when they all arrived on the buses to Park MGM to be greeted by the fans. And there were thousands. And so I'm like, I just saw them in this room at Park MGM. And now they're coming off the bus. So they had to, stage this.
It was staged.
Yeah. That they were like just arriving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they was just, okay. Like production.
Yeah.
Got it.
Absolutely.
Right? But Flav was, that man is 60 something years old going on 20. His energy level that whole weekend was just insanity. I was like, I don't know how you're doing it. I was ready to shut down, at the end of the night. But so they came in and it was cool because you saw like there was these groups like Girls on the Run of Las Vegas was there. Other youth teams, both boys and girls, and their parents, and adult teams. And there was like the social team from the Golden Knights were there. And so you just saw all these fans lining the entire lobby of Park MGM as they were coming in and greeting them and showing them all this love. And then they had to go back out again to get ready for this parade. And so we were stationed at different locations. I asked to be at Toshiba Plaza, which is where it ended. And that's where the stage was for the music that was going to happen, for the presentation of the keys to the strip. So I'm like, I'm old. I'm not going to be running around in 100-degree weather.
July in Vegas.
Yeah, so I'm going to be right here. So they have the parade, and some were in convertibles, some were in these big buses. The youth that were in the parade were actually marching. The Aces were there.
Okay.
The Vegas Aces were part of it.
I didn't see that on social media at all. That's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So the Aces was part of the parade. They came down the blue carpet. It was a vibe. And it was fun seeing all these fans start to load in. Because first I'm like, where are all the fans at Toshiba Plaza, even though it was still kind of early, but it was because the thousands had lined the strip. And were part of that, and then made their way to the plaza. But even seeing that there were fans that flew in from Everett, there were fans that flew in from Atlanta, from Colorado, from all over the country just to be a part of this celebration.
Awesome.
And it was just it was humbling, right? Because and honestly, I think the fans, the players were humbled too, because they're just like, all these people are here for us. And some of the para Olympians were there as well. And just kind of seeing these interactions where, they're not the ones that are front and center being honored per se, but seeing fans call out to them.
That's
and
amazing.
Say, hey, I've been a fan of yours since the 98 Olympics and this and this and that. And just seeing the looks on their faces of this appreciation, it's just like, wow.
Awesome.
So I feel like that was one of the biggest takeaways, was just kind of seeing this recognition and seeing these women being honored, not just the ones that were part of this recent Winter Olympics and not just a part of the women's hockey team.
Right. Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Yeah. And I think that was what was really amazing to see too, is it's like, yeah, it kind of all started with the women's hockey team, but to see all the Olympians, I mean, like Alana Mar was there, like, the figure skating, I'm sorry, I'm gonna lose their names in my head, but you know what I mean? Like it was all the female Olympians, and it was really amazing to see them all be honored in that way. So,
and I met Nigella, who was a volleyball Olympian, has two silver medals, and so she brought her medals, but she's also now part owner of the professional women's team in San Jose.
Oh, cool.
That's launching. And so I was like, hey, we're going to get up one in Seattle. She goes, we're working on it. So it was also interesting to kind of hear like this entrepreneurship.
A warm sport. We can do a warm sport.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not beach volleyball, babe.
Oh, it's indoor volleyball?
It's not beach volleyball, right?
No.
Yeah, but still.
I know. It's still probably summer.
It's probably not as cold as climate pledges in December.
But I will say this, again, I think a lot of stuff that was happening was really starting to come together that week.
Yeah.
So like I said, I was exhausted by the end of Thursday, but they were going nonstop almost until Sunday evening.
Right.
And there were like, of course, there's the fun stuff, like they were like gifting suites that they had. I actually got to go into Layla's hotel room.
Ooh. So I was going to say, okay, tell me how your bestie's with her mom now.
Oh my God. Before I lose my train of thought though. So I go into the room and there's all these Dove products. Oh, and I jokingly said, did you guys have to like buy an extra suitcase? She was like, 2.
Yeah.
From all the different things. But
they were offering. Yeah, I heard multiple athletes say that, like, I'm going to have to buy another suitcase to get all this home. So, yeah.
But they were also, like, offering, like, classes, not only to the players, but to their parents or whoever was there about branding and brand marketing and,
awesome.
Just all this kind of business-related stuff. So I was like, wow, that was a really busy weekend. Then they got to go see the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere and meet them backstage. Didn't have floor seats. The next night they were at Ed Sheeran, and some of the folks went to go see Olivia Dean in concert. So it was just, and then I got to go to see Cirque du Soleil.
But you also say you saw Mary J, didn't you?
Yeah, so that was me on my own though. That was my early birthday present to myself.
Okay, it's still cool.
It was very cool. And so then Mama Edwards and I hung out on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
And Layla needed a break because she was like, I don't want to go to Cirque du Soleil while I'm tired. I just need like an hour, downtime. She goes, all right, you're going with me. And I'm like, okay. And so we Uber over to MGM Grand to see the Cirque du Soleil. But some of the players were there too, and got to meet the performers.
Oh yeah.
And Flav was there as well. So that's how I got the photo with Flav and Mama Edwards. And I was like, okay, they're like, we haven't taken a photo with each other yet. So did that. But yeah, Mama Edwards is amazing. I just like
it is. Oh my gosh. Her Instagram is hysterical.
When we were, so again, I started messaging her when Layla was selected for the Winter Olympics, and we were trying to do the whole fundraising thing to get the family out there.
Yeah.
And then we kept saying, oh, we'll see each other at the draft. But again, I'm like, she's hella popular. I'm like, I'm not going to see her. I was like, if you have time, I would love to treat you to coffee. And just kind of left it at that. And so the morning of the press conference, I'm getting ready for that. And I get this text from my aunt. She's like, I meant to call you last night, but I'm staying at this particular hotel. And I'm like, that's my hotel. And she's like, well, I'm downstairs in the restaurant having breakfast. And I'm like, here I come. So I hang out with her for like half an hour for breakfast, and I had to leave. And then after the awards that night, I'm coming back to the hotel, and she's like, hey, are you around? And I was like, yeah. She goes, meet us downstairs. Something in us is her, and because she brought mom. So Grandma Edwards was there.
Yes.
And I get down there, I'm first. So then I see Mama Edwards walking through. Then here comes Layla and her girlfriend and a few other people. Like, hey.
Yeah.
And again, in their mind, they were coming to Seattle.
Yeah.
So it was very much that's all we talked about.
Yeah.
And then we fast forward to SheWeekend. And again, I know it's crazy busy now. And I know she's there and she's running around and doing all the things. So she texts me Saturday morning. She's like, "You are not leaving Vegas without me seeing you."
Aww.
And I was like, okay. So went over to Park MGM and she was coming out of one of the classes with her. And then that's when she's like, "Mama, I need a break." And so I was like, okay, so you're going to car with me. But again, it was really interesting to have some really good conversation with her because, again, we were talking about, reading through contracts. And she's like, how do I make sure that, she's not being taken advantage of? How much do we do as a way to build the resume, not only for Layla, but for her?
Yeah.
Before then going, okay, now how do we monetize? How do we make sure that there's adequate compensation that's coming off of your popularity? And we had initially had that conversation at the draft because the folks at Together was like, hey, we would love to, use some of your TikToks for the things that we're doing. And the first thing I said to her, I said, are they compensating you?
Yes. Yeah.
And she goes, I don't know how to ask. And I said, just ask, is there compensation? You don't have to get deep.
Yeah.
Just put the question out there. Yeah. And so, of course, now her popularity is increasing. It was the same thing. She's like, okay, so I'm trying to learn, who would be a good management team for Layla? Like, how do we make this happen? Oh, I do have a little bit of a scoop.
Oh.
So, we were talking about her being at the NHL draft.
Right.
Yes.
And how that came about. And so she's like, 2 days before the draft, they call her and say, hey, we need a celebrity to do the first round pick. And she's like, okay. And this is why I say I'm happy for her. I feel like San Jose is treating her really well.
Absolutely.
And really setting her front and center, not just with PWHL, but with, frankly, the whole sports city of San Jose. And so they drove it to Buffalo from Cleveland, because she's like, they were just tired of airplanes at that point. She's like, we'll just drive it. So we drive it. And she was only supposed to do the announcing of the pick.
Right.
But they loved how well she was received that then they at the last minute said, hey, can you do the trade alert? And all these other things that happened at the draft. She's like, she just thought she was going to be one done and go sit down somewhere. But they loved her and her energy and her personality. So they're like, hey, can you be here for when we do the trade announcement? And so that's how that happened.
Awesome.
But again, it was literally on the turn of a dime.
Yeah. Well, and I think just being open to those kind of opportunities too, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's something that she's, I think that's amazing that it sounds like she's got good people around her, really encouraging her. And I think it's true. The imposter syndrome is like,
yes, we talked about that too.
Like, and that's the funny thing is like, people are like, oh, they're, professional athletes. I'm like, this is new. Like none of these women thought that this was even a possibility, probably going into college. Like when Layla started college, I almost guarantee you she was not thinking she was going to be this,
confirmed. That's what Mama Edwards said. She's like, she goes, if anything, we thought once she was done with college, maybe she'll play for a local team in West Cleveland.
Right.
While she has whatever her career is going to be.
Right.
So and we talked about that. I was like, think about your entire summer has been college graduation. Let's go coming off the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right.
Then college graduation. Yes. Then the draft. Then this, SheWeekend, and then going into this professional league as the face.
Right.
On a number of different levels as a 20-something.
I know. Me too. I'm getting chills. Yeah. Like, I'm proud of her. I'm proud of all these women, like, honestly. But yeah, I think Layla, just.
But think how exhausting for each of them on whatever level that has to be. And again, kind of, taking that step back and being able to observe. Can you imagine that, that entire weekend alone, just every 5 or 6 steps you take, someone is walking up to you and saying, oh my God, can I take a photo with you? Or they're just taking photos from the side because they recognize you.
Yeah.
How adjusted of a person. I don't think I can handle that as a 50-something.
Yeah.
Can you back off? But to see their demeanor the entire weekend of having that kind of interactions and having to be on.
Right. And that's, And that's one of the hardest things that people don't understand, like the emotional drain it is. And I just coming off the ESPYs, like you said, like, you know, coming from the ESPYs, and like I look at like Hillary Knight, like ESPYs, SheWeekend, Time 100, blah blah blah. I mean, it's like I'm like, when do these women sleep? Like, when do they sleep? Like, I don't understand. And you know, I think one of the things that we heard through the grapevine was that the players were like, oh, we're just so tired. Like, do we have to go to another dinner at SheWeekend? And I'm like, it's legit. And not because they're not grateful and not because they don't want to be there, but just like they're tired and they're, you know, they're human and they need their human time to
I serve as witness.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. And again, but they're putting on their best foot forward, putting on their smile and going, okay, because I think they also understood too, to some degree, how significant this was.
Yeah.
And hopefully I think Vegas is already trying to figure out how to make this an annual thing.
I was going to ask, are we going to do this again? Because we would love to make it at some point. Like, obviously this year didn't work out for us, but like, we'd love to make it out there. So is it in the works again?
I think the conversation is happening out there. I'm actually supposed to talk to a couple of the organizers later on this week. As a follow-up from SheWeekend, because I mean, there's still things that are reverberating, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's still playing nonstop on my feed. Like I'm still seeing stuff from SheWeekend. So
I would be surprised if something didn't happen next year just to keep that momentum going. But it was great. And again, women ruled Vegas that weekend in a completely different way.
As it should be.
That wasn't about showing off bodies or whatever like that. It was really about the professionalism and seeing the respect that they were being given. Yeah. And saying, yes, women's sports is here. You're like this is a moment.
Yes, it is.
And it's not going to be a fleeting moment.
No.
At all.
No.
So I was just excited to be a part of it.
You have something else?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say, okay. So I want to know what's next for Alicia Crank and Crank Up the Volume, or you know, whatever is coming up in your life. Okay. Yeah, no, you don't. I mean,
you know, that is the question of the hour, right? I never expected any of these things to happen over the course of this summer, but I'm also like, what am I going to do with this now? Right? There's something happening. I'm really going to try to cultivate Crank Up the Volume a bit more. I want to really make it to that level of talking to like these women in business that are supporting women's sports, really taking those kind of next level conversations around it. And, you know, utilize being on the sports commission as well, as a way to do that. But I just want to try to have more of these conversations, right? Getting more interpersonal around some of these business dealings that are happening.
Yeah.
And not just necessarily be focused on, because I'm not a facts and figures girl. That's not me. I leave that to you. I leave that to.
That is not us. That is Brian.
Yeah.
That is Brian. You know, that is not us. He keeps us straight. Like that is 100% Brian.
I really want to go more into, and I think that's why I like you guys' content too, because it's a mix of that and storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So I want to be able to try to cultivate more stories.
Yeah.
And kind of get
it sounds like opportunities too.
Stuff.
Like I think that's what you're talking about. You're not talking about just like storytelling. You're talking about like how do we create opportunities?
Yeah.
Which I think is really important. And you know, something that we, you know, kind of have an eye on right now and where we're moving to is this like, how do we create more opportunities for people in this space? Because we do see this rise of, you know, women's sports right now. We're moving in this direction. There's this huge wave. And like, how do we all just jump on and like bring everybody with us? Like that's the other thing is it's like, there's no, you know, I don't want there to be competition around it. I just want to be like, let's all jump on and make it the best thing we can make it. Right. So
and there's tons of room, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And there's tons of room and there's tons of avenues. Like I said, I like to lean more towards that, you know, the storytelling, but also that business side. Like what is the business reason behind some of these things happening that does get talked about?
Nope.
We only just see the end result.
You don't learn it as a collegiate athlete. They're not teaching these women or these men. I mean, honestly, like how to talk about brand deals, about how to, you know, monetize their social medias, like all those things don't get taught. And like some leagues, you know, I know that some professional leagues do that for their players, but obviously I don't think the PWHL is there yet. So
no, not yet.
Yeah.
And I think they know that. So it's like,
for sure.
Like they know it.
I'm not faulting them. It's a new league. Like I'm not, that wasn't derogatory or,
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. It's just, I don't think they're there yet. And when we're at the level of some of the other professional leagues, I think they hopefully will get there. But
I'm just proud of the PWHL for the longevity so far. People are like, it's only the 4th season or the 5th. I'm like, but how many times did the XFL come and go? How many other leagues have, with greater resources have tried and failed after a couple of seasons? So
even in the women's hockey, like the PWHL isn't the first iteration of professional women's hockey. So, I think they've done a great job, and I see the longevity of it. So,
and that's why we're here. Yep. We're here to keep the Torrent in business for as long as they can be in business here in Seattle.
Absolutely. I'm ready for this new season. Yes, I'm ready for the schedules to drop. Oh, I will say another project I'm working on, which is going to be a merge of Crank Up the Volume, but also my professional work, is really trying to find like a synergy in Seattle between sports and arts. So I'm working on creating some sports arts collaborations.
Cool.
Over the season of the opera that we're doing. Cool. So we're going to try to have some sports themed like activations. It's because we're in Seattle Center. The majority of the sports teams that we follow are in Seattle Center. And so it's like it's a sports hub and an arts hub that hasn't necessarily connected with one another.
Very true.
How many times have we, we got a game at 7, but we're down in the center at like 2 or 3, trying to kill time, going to get something to eat, to do whatever. So it's like, what? There's a matinee of this performance happening over there. Why couldn't I, in my Jersey, go and check out this ballet performance or this opera performance that's happening at 2?
Let's go to the ballet in Jerseys. I love it.
And then, after that, then go over, walk across the way to Climate Pledge and watch the game.
Yeah.
So I just think there's some interesting synergies there, especially when we do get an NBA team.
Come on.
And when Memorial Stadium opens and the rugby team is going to move there.
Okay, but what are we going to do with 4? Okay, we shouldn't have this conversation.
No. That's the business conversation for another show.
We cannot do that. Okay, Patti always gets the last word, and I know we've just been going for a while. So, Patti, what's the last word?
Well, my last word actually has to be presence, because thank you for your presence on our show. Sharing your presence at the draft and at SheWeekend. We enjoyed the whole conversation, and as always, enjoy your presence, Alicia. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. And I miss seeing you guys in person.
I know.
It's November cannot come quickly enough.
And it's funny because I don't think people realize, a lot of people that don't live in our city or know geography, Alicia lives north. And we live really far south. Yeah. So it's unless we're in Seattle, it's
the Climate Pledge.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to make that connection. Yeah. So
Well, I'm looking forward to going into next season.
Yes.
With you guys and breaking in a new-ish team.
That's right. No. And it's going to feel fresh and it's going to feel amazing. And I'm so excited and I cannot wait. So.
Yep.
Okay. Excited. Thanks so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you,
thanks. We'll talk to everybody next week. Bye. And that's the show. Tune in next time for another episode of Gloves Off Seattle.